Please subscribe, hit the like button, and let us know in the comments where you are watching from. My name is Carolyn. My sister Rebecca was always the golden child, beautiful, successful, and engaged to a wealthy doctor. I accidentally discovered her affair with our cousin's husband. What she did to silence me nearly killed me. What I did at her engagement party destroyed her perfect life forever. The church stairs were stone, steep, and unforgiving. I remember standing at the top, phone in my hand, showing Rebecca the photos I'd accidentally taken the night before. Her face was in the parking lot behind the restaurant, kissing Marcus, our cousin, Elena's husband, the man Elena had married 3 years ago, the father of her 18-month-old daughter. Rebecca's expression changed in an instant, shock, then calculation. Her eyes darted to my phone, to the empty stairwell behind me, to the 15 stone steps that led down to the fellowship hall. She asked me what I wanted. Her voice was low, controlled. I told her the truth. I wanted her to tell Elena, to end the affair, to do the right thing before her engagement party next week, before she married Thomas, the cardiothoracic surgeon who thought he was marrying someone honest. Rebecca stepped closer, said I didn't understand, that it was complicated, that Marcus and Elena's marriage was already failing, that Thomas didn't need to know about a mistake that was already over. I told her it wasn't over. I'd seen them together last night. I saw the way they touched each other. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was ongoing, deliberate. She reached for my phone. I pulled back, and then her hand was on my shoulder, and she was pushing. Not hard enough to look intentional to anyone watching, but hard enough, on those stairs, at that angle. I fell. The world tilted. Stone edges slammed into my ribs, my hip, my shoulder. I tried to grab the railing, but my fingers slipped. My head cracked against the bottom step with a sound that seemed impossibly loud in the empty stairwell. Thought everything went dark. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. My mother sat beside me, holding my hand. A concussion, she said. 3 cracked ribs, severe bruising. I'd been unconscious for 6 hours. I asked what happened. She said Rebecca found me at the bottom of the church stairs, that I must have tripped. Rebecca had called the ambulance, stayed with me until they arrived, and ridden with me to the hospital. My sister, my savior. I didn't correct her. Not yet, because my phone was gone, and Rebecca was standing in the doorway with tears in her eyes and flowers in her hands, playing the role of concerned sister perfectly. The hospital kept me for 2 days. Rebecca visited every afternoon, bringing magazines and concern. She asked if I remembered what happened. I said no, everything was fuzzy. Her relief was visible, carefully masked, but there, she thought I'd forgotten, though the fall had erased the photos, the confrontation, the threat I represented. But I remembered everything. My phone was gone, but the photos had been backed up automatically to my cloud storage. I accessed them from my laptop the day I got home, alone in my apartment, while my mother fussed in the kitchen, making soup I couldn't eat through my jaw that still ached from the impact. The photos were clear. Rebecca and Marcus are outside Rosselli's, the Italian restaurant on 5th Street. Her hands are on his chest, his mouth on her neck. The timestamp showed 11:15 at night, the same night Rebecca had told Thomas she was working late at the law firm. I started digging deeper, checked Rebecca's social media, her calendar that she'd always shared with family, noticed patterns, late meetings that aligned with Elena mentioning Marcus working overtime, business trips to cities where Marcus had conferences, a weekend spa retreat that matched Marcus's supposed fishing trip. The affair had been going on for at least 8 months, maybe longer. I created a new folder on my laptop, started collecting evidence, not just photos, but screenshots of Rebecca's locations, when she claimed to be in one place, but was actually elsewhere. Credit card receipts I found in her car when she asked me to grab her sunglasses the week before, the fall hotels, restaurants, purchases that made sense only if she was with someone other than Thomas. Elena deserved to know, Thomas deserved to know, but more than that, Rebecca deserved consequences for trying to kill me to protect her lies, because it was attempted murder. Maybe the police wouldn't see it that way. A push on stairs could be explained away. Accidental, no witnesses. But I knew, my ribs knew, the concussion that still made me dizzy knew. She'd chosen her affair over my life, had calculated in that moment that I was expendable, that the stairs were steep enough, that if I died or stayed unconscious with amnesia, her secret would be safe. I wasn't going to let her get away with it. The engagement party was scheduled for Saturday, 3 weeks after my fall. Thought Rebecca had planned it months ago, a lavish event at the Riverside estate, 200 guests, an orchestra, a champagne fountain, everything designed to celebrate her perfect love story with Thomas. Their wedding was set for June, 6 months away. She'd already sent save the dates. I told my mother I was well enough to attend. She was surprised, didn't been quiet since the accident, withdrawn. Rebecca looked nervous when she heard, but couldn't object without raising suspicion. Of course, her beloved sister should be there. We'd always been close, hadn't we? I hired a private investigator named James Sullivan. He was expensive but thorough. I showed him the photos, explained the affair, told him about the fall, but kept my suspicions about attempted murder to myself. He didn't need to know everything, just enough to do his job. James followed Rebecca and Marcus for 2 weeks, documented their meetings, hotel visits on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons when Rebecca claimed to be at the gym, a weekend trip to a bed and breakfast 3 hours away when Thomas was at a medical conference in Seattle. James also investigated Thomas, made sure he wasn't complicit, wasn't aware. He wasn't. Thomas was exactly who he appeared to be, a dedicated surgeon, working 70-hour weeks, trusting his fiancée completely. He'd bought her a house as an engagement gift, put her name on his investment accounts. He was building a life with someone who was systematically betraying him. I also had James look into Alina and Marcus's marriage. Alina suspected nothing. She was home with their daughter, had just returned to work part-time as a teacher, and trusted her husband when he said late nights were about project deadlines. She posted family photos on social media, smiling with a child who had Marcus's eyes and a husband who was sleeping with her cousin. The investigation cost me $8,000, worth every penny. James delivered his final report a week before the engagement party. Photos, videos, timestamps, hotel receipts, everything documented with professional precision. He'd even gotten footage of Rebecca and Marcus entering a hotel room together, staying for 3 hours, leaving separately. I had everything I needed, but I wanted one more piece. Rebecca's own words. I called her the Wednesday before the party, said I wanted to talk about the fall, that I was having flashbacks, remembering things. Her voice went tight on the phone. She suggested coffee. We met at a cafe near her office. I wore a tiny recording device James had helped me purchase and conceal, legal in our state as long as one party consented to recording. I was at that party. Rebecca arrived nervously, asked what I remembered. I said fragments. Standing on the stairs, showing her something on my phone. Her hands are on my shoulders. She went pale, insisted I must be confused, that she'd found me already fallen. Head injuries caused false memories. I pressed, said it felt so real, like she'd been angry about something, like we'd been arguing. Rebecca leaned forward, voice dropping, told me to stop, that digging into false memories would only hurt me, that I needed to let it go, move on, focus on healing. I asked if there was something she didn't want me to remember. Her mask slipped, just for a second, long enough for her to say, "You don't know what you're risking, what you could destroy. Just leave it alone, Carolyn." A confession wrapped in a threat, all recorded, all admissible. The engagement party was everything Rebecca had dreamed of. White lights strung through the garden, tables draped in silk, the orchestra is playing soft jazz, 200 guests in evening wear, celebrating the golden couple. Thomas, in his tuxedo, is beaming. Rebecca was in a champagne gown that probably cost more than my car. I arrived late, wearing a dark blue dress that hid the bruises still fading on my ribs. My mother waved me over to the family table. Rebecca saw me, and her smile faltered, just slightly. I smiled back, warm, forgiving. Alina was there too, sitting with Marcus and their daughter Sophie. Alina looked beautiful but tired, the exhaustion of new motherhood still visible around her eyes. Marcus kept checking his phone, probably texting Rebecca. They'd gotten sloppy, confident they'd never be caught. Dinner was served, speeches began. Thomas's best man told embarrassing medical school stories. Rebecca's maid of honor talked about their friendship since college, how Rebecca had always known what she wanted and never let anything stand in her way. I waited until dessert, until champagne glasses were full and everyone was warm with wine in celebration. Then, I stood up, asked for the microphone, said I had a surprise for the happy couple. Rebecca's face went white. Thomas looked confused, but gestured for someone to hand me the mic. I thanked everyone for coming, congratulated Thomas on his engagement to my sister, said that Rebecca had always been driven, ambitious, someone who went after what she wanted. Then I said I wanted to share some photos from Rebecca's pre-engagement adventures for the slideshow behind me, the one that had been showing childhood. Photos of Rebecca and Thomas. I had a USB drive ready. The first photo appeared, Rebecca and Marcus, outside Rosselli's, kissing, timestamp, visible. The room went silent. More photos, hotel entrances, bed and breakfast check-ins, text message screenshots that James had obtained through methods I didn't ask about. Messages between Rebecca and Marcus plan their meetings, discuss Thomas's schedule, and make fun of how trusting he was. Alina stood up, knocking over her wine glass, stared at the screen, at her husband, at my sisters. Thomas was frozen, champagne glass halfway to his lips. I kept going, played the audio from the cafe. Rebecca's voice, clear and damning. You don't know what you're risking, what you could destroy. Just leave it alone, Caroline. Then I told them why she'd said that, showed a photo of myself in a hospital bed, explained that 3 weeks ago, I'd discovered the affair, that I'd confronted Rebecca at the church, that she'd pushed me down 15 stone stairs to keep her secret safe. I pulled up my shirt slightly, showing the bruises still visible on my ribs, played the 911 call. James had obtained Rebecca's voice, panicked and fake, reporting that she'd found her sister fallen, that I wasn't waking up. The room erupted, gasps, shouts. Alina was crying, screaming at Marcus. Thomas dropped his glass, the crystal shattering on the marble floor. He looked at Rebecca with an expression of complete devastation. Rebecca stood, tried to speak, to explain, but there was nothing to say. The evidence was overwhelming, undeniable. Security appeared. James had stationed himself at the venue. Knowing this might get chaotic, he escorted Rebecca and Marcus outside as guests pulled out their phones, recording, photographing, spreading the scandal in real time to everyone who hadn't been there. Thomas followed Rebecca outside. I heard him through the open doors, voice breaking, asking if any of it was true, asking if she'd really pushed me, if she'd really been cheating for 8 months. Rebecca tried to deny it, but the photos didn't lie, the timestamps didn't lie, the hotel receipts didn't lie. Thomas pulled off his engagement ring, dropped it at her feet, walked away. Alina had already left with Sophie, Marcus running after her, begging. Their marriage was over. Everyone knew it. I stood in the center of the destroyed party, surrounded by shocked guests and scattered champagne glasses and the ruins of my sister's perfect life. My mother appeared beside me, face pale, asked if it was true. All of it. I nodded, showed her the medical records, the recording, everything. She looked at Rebecca, still standing outside, and something broke in her. Expression, disappointment, horror, the realization that her golden child had tried to kill her other daughter to hide an affair. Rebecca was arrested. 2 days later, I filed assault charges. With the recording, the medical evidence, and witness testimony from the private investigator, the district attorney agreed to prosecute. Rebecca pleaded guilty to aggravated assault in exchange for avoiding trial, sentenced to 18 months in prison, 3 years of probation, and mandatory anger management. Her law license was suspended. Her engagement was over. Her reputation was destroyed. Thomas sold the house he'd bought for them, donated the money to a women's shelter. Last I heard, he'd moved to Boston, started fresh at a different hospital, far from the scandal and the woman who'd lied to him for months. Alina divorced Marcus, got full custody of Sophie. Marcus pays child support but sees his daughter only under supervised visitation. His infidelity cost him his marriage, his family, and most of his friends who sided with Alina. Alina and I became close. 2 women betrayed by people we should have been able to trust. We meet for coffee weekly, watch Sophie sometimes, and help each other heal from the damage Rebecca and Marcus caused. My mother struggled with what happened. She loved both her daughters, but couldn't reconcile the Rebecca she thought she knew with the woman who'd pushed me downstairs and carried on an 8-month affair with our cousin's husband. She goes to therapy now, trying to process how she missed the signs, how her golden child became someone capable of attempted murder. I still have dizzy spells sometimes, migraines from the concussion, but I'm alive. I survived both the fall and the aftermath. The engagement party video went viral locally. Rebecca became infamous, the lawyer who cheated with her cousin's husband and tried to kill her sister to hide it. She can't escape it. When she gets out of prison, she'll come back to a city that knows exactly who she is. Sometimes people ask if I feel guilty, if I had handled it privately, spared the family the public humiliation. I tell them no. Rebecca chose public when she planned a lavish engagement party for a relationship built on lies. She chose public when she pushed me downstairs in a church. She chose public when she calculated that silencing me was worth the risk of killing me. I just made sure the truth was as public as her lies had been. To everyone watching this, listening to this story, if someone tries to silence you, document everything. If someone harms you to protect their secrets, make sure those secrets come out in the most undeniable way possible. And if someone pushes you down literal or metaphorical stairs, get back up and push back harder. Rebecca thought I'd stay quiet, thought fear or family loyalty or amnesia would keep me silent. She was wrong. Have you ever been betrayed by family? How did you handle it? Share your story in the comments, and if this resonated with you, if you've ever had to choose between protecting someone's reputation and protecting yourself, subscribe. These stories matter. They remind us that we don't owe loyalty to people who've tried to destroy us, that revenge doesn't have to be violent, sometimes it's just the truth, told loudly, at exactly the right moment. I survived the fall, and I made sure Rebecca fell farther.